You're listening to Linked AM. Tell your story on Linked Live and get noticed. You're listening to Carl Wolfenden on the Business Class Show and is not always affiliated with the guests and the topics discussed. Any financial statements are the opinions of the individual, and you should seek professional advice before making any decisions. Upgrade your listening to Business Class, the show that puts you in the big leather comfy seats. So sit back and enjoy our take on the trending business issues of the week.
Howdy, folks. Here he is, the Texas Brit, the guy with the stiff upper lip, filling his 10-gallon hat and his cowboy boots, Carl Wolfenden.
Good morning, and welcome to Linked AM here on Business Class News. And oh my goodness, we've been having such a great response to the special feature. Everyone that's been following us and our subscribers, specifically in the US, you'll have been seeing the special feature that we launched about a week ago, where we were talking about the future workforce of America. And, you know, a lot of corporations are really getting behind this mission of really educating our students, especially in the STEM program. That's science, math, engineering, and technology side of things. Because, you know, unfortunately, when you look at the stats, and we talk about it in the feature, you know, unfortunately, the US is actually falling behind a lot of the big the countries, and we need to catch up, and we got to start doing something about it today. And we've been doing a lot of stories on, you know, Lockheed Martin, you know, Raytheon, all these big corporations that are really getting behind this initiative. And a few months ago, I think you'll all remember I had a great conversation with Michael Gorton, who is actually heading up Back to Space. We had a great conversation. You know, if anybody that knows me, you know that I love space. I've been following all the stuff going on about with Mars and all of that kind of stuff, and I get excited when I think about all this activity. So I thought, you know, I've got to bring Michael back on, because we're going to do a series of interviews, and the first one is all about the vision. Michael, thank you for joining me this morning. You're on the moon. I can see you've got the lunar landscape behind you there.
I do. So yes, this is going to be a huge. I'm fond of saying that this will be one of the biggest, most well-known projects that gets built anywhere in the world in the next decade or so.
Well, when you were on the show the last time, you know, we talked about, didn't we, about the mission of what Back to Space was about, and you coined the phrase, and you enjoy saying it, exponential STEM, and the goal in that conversation was to say, look, we got to get the kids back enthused and enthusiastic about science and math and technology and engineering, etc. But let's make this something big. So your mission has actually expanded, hasn't it? You know, with the venture that you've got behind. Tell us about it.
So it started out as just a fun little project where we were going to launch rockets, and you know, they go up, they run out of fuel, their parachute deploys, and try and do all the calculations so they can land on a 25-foot by 25-foot map of the moon. And what ended up happening was we just needed to make the map bigger and bigger and bigger. And so now we're at 65,000 square feet.
65,000 square feet. Oh my goodness. That's to scale that.
Yeah. So, you know, what we got now is we've got Guinness Book of World Records by a long, long, long ways. Right. And, but, you know, just a map of the moon, that's kind of interesting once. And so we said, you know, everything is go big or go home, right? And so what you're seeing behind me is probably one of the most extraordinary restaurants in the world. There'll be virtual reality and augmented reality and gameplay that's constantly changing, and special rooms where you'll feel like you're on 10 forward of the Starship Enterprise. And it's just, the things that we're doing, everybody who sees it says, you better build this or you're a dead man.
Well, I think by building this now, you've chosen an area in Texas, haven't you? And that's
Yes.
Jacksboro.
Correct.
Yeah, right there. There you go, Jacksboro, Texas. So that's in that. I suppose it's the northwest of, not all the way over to the northwest, but towards the west of Texas,
Right.
and that's oil country, isn't it? I suppose you would say nearly.
It is.
So why did you choose that location?
Well, we wanted somewhere outside of flight paths. So we couldn't be too close to one of the bigger airports like Dallas Fort Worth. And so there's a really interesting story. One of the guys who went to the moon twice is Jim Lovell. And Jim Lovell's nephew lives in Dallas and is a friend. And so I was talking to him about this project, and he goes, I know the perfect town. And you can actually see in the background behind the lunar landscape is a lake.
Yep.
So this is right on Lake Jacksboro. So it's a beautiful scenic area. And so you wouldn't think that the land would be easy to come by, but we went and talked to the city manager of the city of Jacksboro, the city of Jacksboro that has somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people, right?
Right.
And so maybe we should call it a small town.
Yeah.
Nice little West Texas town. And but they got very interested, and they gave us a 17-acre grant of land. And they said, if you want to put in cabins and places for people to stay, we'll give you even more on the water. And so why Jacksboro? Well, first of all, the people out there are just good Texas extraordinary, and the piece of land it just fit all of our criteria.
Well, the other thing is, when I was looking at and full disclaimer, we're working with you as a partner in terms of looking at the project and working on various things. So when I was looking at all the details, I mean, you've got access to like 8 million people in the vicinity. Yeah. You've got 1.7 million students in the ISDs that are all around. So you've got really, when you think about, okay, it's Jacksboro, it's out there, it's actually quite accessible, very accessible. Right. In fact.
Right. It will be a big draw. And so, we talk about, will people come from the Metroplex? And the answer is absolutely yes. We'll have a restaurant that people will want to come to a couple of times a year. And when you're drawing on an 8 million population, that's something. But I guarantee you, people will come from all over the globe to see this facility. It will be that extraordinary. It'll be a destination from wherever you live, anywhere on the planet.
Well, I mean, so taking that to one side, I mean, the mission that you have, and I can see the mission and I can see the vision, and there's outputs of this, and that's of course getting the kids to come into this experience, and the parents as well, to sort of absorb and to be able to learn. So we've talked about learning centers, haven't we? Interactive screens, as you said, building games, interactive games, so they get interactive. So they're going to be able to be, go through this experience, not only walk on the moon, which is amazing in its own right. I mean, we've been talking about building, it's going to have scaled mountains that we can have rock climbing and things like that on. And then you've got, of course, all the different gravity things that we've talked about. So that the kids are going to really get sort of absorbed into this whole environment of science, correct?
Right. That's correct. And but not just that. I mean, we'll have corporate events here. We'll have weddings here. Imagine getting married on the moon. Imagine, there's a really famous band from yours and my generation called The Police.
Yep.
And they did a song called Walking on the Moon.
Walking on the Moon. Yeah, I won't
sing. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So don't sing.
I'll keep my day job.
But wouldn't it be great to have the police come here?
Well, Sting used to be a neighbor of mine in England.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
well, there we go. You need to invite him. Let him
Okay, I
know
didn't
we
know
can
that, so
finally
we'll do
walk
that.
on the moon.
But I see the stage behind you. I mean, we'll be putting up images on the feature that accompanies this video. But you're right. I mean, corporate events and sort of, excuse the pun, product launches, etc. It can be used for all sorts of different things.
Right. But if you want to go back to the STEM thing for just a second, I want you to imagine this, because this is my personal story. When I was a little kid, I sat in front of a television. We were a very poor family. Our TV was black and white, and I watched one of those Apollo rockets launch. And it was a pivotal point in my life. I didn't know anything about ballistics, math, anything. I was a 10-year-old, and I said, I want to do that. And it changed the trajectory of my life forever. And I see kids walking out on this lunar landscape and having the same kind of inspiration, or getting into the lunar gravity simulator, or any other thing that we have here. And it only takes one, but I guarantee you we'll have dozens, maybe hundreds of kids that will walk out there and they'll be inspired, and it will change the trajectory of their life. And so that's part of the mission. But the other part is, this isn't just for kids. This is for taxpayers and decision makers and international travelers. So I want a taxpayer to walk out on that lunar landscape and say, wow, I get it now. Or a CEO of a major corporation. We are about STEM, but I suspect that this facility is going to have a lot of visitors, and maybe it's a dirty word, I don't know, but it's probably going to make a lot of money. We wanted to do that.
Well, I tell you, business class news. We talk about businesses that have to make money, and it is a for-profit situation because. But the thing, what I always like to say is, it's not a dirty word saying making money, because you're
good.
because if you're making money, you can actually enhance the experience of the customer, which are going to be the visitors as such, and you can give a return on your investment of your partners, of your sponsors, the guy the company that's going to name this amazing facility as such. So no. Making money is not a dirty word, because it gives a return and it helps the kids. Because, as I said before, yes, it's going to be an attraction. It's going to be a place, a magnet for people to come to. But the difference it's going to make, that you just said, is worth everything. It really is.
Well, we love returns. I'm sure Disney loves returns. If you go to Disney World, it's one of the most extraordinary places on earth. And they're smart, because they don't just have profits. They recognize that a big part of what they make has to go back into improving the experience every single day.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to be doing. I mean, the great thing about this is, when you show the images of it, it's a giant map of the moon, but underneath that is software and gameplay and stuff that will change almost every single day. And, you may come one week and come a week later and have a completely different experience, because we will be constantly updating and modifying and improving.
Well, that is. I mean, I've been in the attraction business for a long, long time. We used to do live shows from Disney. Disney was my first client, so I'm very passionate about that. But you're absolutely right. You have to give that visitor experience so they want to come back each time. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about today is interactive screens and all of those different things that can be done. You can change that experience with a flick of a switch. So
that's right.
If you just move your head to the left a bit, I see a rocket launching. There it is. Yeah, so there's those rockets you were talking about. Because the other thing I know about that part of Texas is that there's no light pollution, is there? So you can star watch, and you can, my goodness, it's going to be an amazing experience.
As we build this thing, there's a fairly good pool of scientists and astronomers, and we like those skies outside of the city where you can look up and see the Milky Way.
Yep.
And so as we design this thing, we will recognize the ability to make all the lights go away at night. And so we can have star parties out on the lunar surface, and people can look up and see the sky.
Oh, I
So,
used to
yeah.
when I was a kid, a bit like yourself. You were saying about watching the Apollo. I used to love going out camping and then just watch and see the shooting stars go up, and that then it got me into it. My very first show and tell that I did in school was I built a space shuttle, and I did a whole thing about how the space and it was. I just absolutely embraced it. So you're absolutely right about this is going to make a difference, not only for kids, but for people that are coming to visit. So
Right.
I'm excited to be involved in this. I really am.
When you show the imagery, I hope you show some of the deck level views. Can I show any images
Oh,
during this?
absolutely. Please go ahead.
Well, yeah. So here, let me do this then. So, I keep talking about being out on the surface of the moon. And so this is it. This is what we're going to look like. I can imagine Sting being up there on the stage and this whole moon being covered with thousands of people.
And I'd be walking on the moon, as you say, with the police. There you go.
It'll be the first time anybody was able to listen to Sting and
walk on
or
the
dance
moon.
on the moon. But, so the great thing, so this is an architectural rendering. It comes from a blueprint. And our architect, I hope you get to interview him. His name is Mark Brohard. He's extraordinary. And so one of the things I said to Mark was, okay, Mark, if I'm on this deck level at the restaurant, sipping on my Guinness stout, will I be able to see Sting? And he said, yeah, you will. And I said, what about up here? Because up on this deck level, I'm above the dome. And he said, well, the magic of architecture, I can actually take you there. So I'm talking about this deck level right here.
Yep.
And this deck level right here. So boom, this is what it looks like on the lower deck, right below the dome. And I can see Sting up there singing, in my imagination, of course. And then if I pop up to the next level, I can see Lake Jacksboro and Sting at the same time. So, this is pretty cool. But
that is amazing. That is really cool.
Yep.
And so you've got, as you said, these are going to be restaurants. The restaurants are in these towers. I saw two towers there. So, okay, that is.
So there's the two towers, and there will be restaurant in there. So you'll be able to get a great steak or hamburger or maybe Texas barbecue. We'll bring in a 4-star chef to run it. And then we'll have special rooms in there where I don't have these images yet, but when you get Mark on, let's make sure that Mark has these images done. But we will have a room that's like the deck of the entertainment deck of a starship. In Star Trek Next Generation, they had a place called 10 Forward, where people could go sit and look out the windows at whatever they're orbiting. And so we'll have those rooms, and when people are visiting, you could be there for dinner with your family or spouse or something, or you could be in one of the private rooms with a corporate event, and you could be orbiting around Mars. Or, if you want, we'll give you the cell phone app, and you can click from Mars to Saturn, loop through the rings of Saturn.
That is amazing. That's fantastic.
Having your linguine, So, yep.
Well, that is an amazing rendering. I mean, I'm looking forward to talking to Mark for sure, because, as I say, as we sort of, got to know about this project, etc., and we're working together closely, I'm just so excited about the opportunity for all the corporate hospitality, the kids learning, etc. So I'm looking forward. I think I've got Danielle next week going to be coming on, and she's of course the founder and the visionary, the passion behind all this as well.
Well, so I'm sorry, you may be outflanked by Danielle. She's a comedian and an actress, and she's gorgeous. So, I mean, you can easily outflank me, but I don't know with Danielle.
Well, I've been watching some of these YouTube videos that she's been doing, and it's like so hilarious. I'm getting kind of worried, actually, but I'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, she'll make you look good. But the great thing, so on top of all that, how many people can say, my grandfather went to the moon?
Right. Absolutely.
No big deal, but my grandfather did go to the moon.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Danielle can say that. So,
well,
yeah,
Michael,
cool.
I really do appreciate you spending. I know you're a very busy man, but this has been a joy to watch. And as I know the background anyway, but I couldn't wait to show the viewers and tell the listeners that listen in on this what we were up to, and can't wait to get your colleagues on and get them telling more of that story.
Great. Well, we appreciate all of your audience and you, Carl. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, that was Michael Gordon, of course. As I said, he's look at that. I mean, you watch all that stuff that he just showed us, and that amazing facility. And so we're proud to be associated with that project, and you'll be learning more about it as in the coming weeks. But as we always say, go out there, have some fun, make some money, and we talked about that in this little thing. Make this money because we're all in business together, and so but also be safe. We always say that, but we're going to be sharing these stories. We're going to be a lot of these renderings on the website, and again, it's all about the future of our workforce. We really want to get our workforce into a place where we are competitive, we're winning, and make America great, and that's what we're all about. So. Appreciate it. My earpiece fell out. There you go. That's always fun when there's a wardrobe misfunction there. But anyway, till the next time, I'll see you. Goodbye.